Welcome back, everybody. Appreciate y'all hanging in there, waiting for these videos to go live. And it's been a while since I've posted a video. I guess I did a gaming video a few weeks ago. I guess in the grand scheme of things, a few weeks ago to me now as I'm filming this, but depending on when you watch this, it could have been few months ago or years ago. But and typically the gaming videos, I'll leave them up for a while and then some of them I'll pull, but that's another story for another day. If you like the gaming videos, let me know. It's just me playing and having some fun. Look me up on Xbox, same name as the channel name, HyperXprojects. Depending on what game I'm playing, I'll be out there. If you want to add me as a friend or whatever. I haven't bought into the whole Fortnite thing, so I don't think that's going to happen. I don't know. I might get into it, but who knows what the next big thing will be. Alright, I'm going to keep this short because what I'm going to do is this will be segments of this will be posted into some of the other videos. So I think it's going to work out to be a 3-part or 4-part video series for the Explorer. For my 2004 Ford Explorer, I did tow hooks, which will be at the end of this intro, where I'm going to do voiceover on that because I was out filming with this guy and I had it under the truck in this case, so there's no way for when this is in here, there's no sound, you can't hear anything. So that's going to be narrated over as to what I'm doing. So I do the tow hooks on the Ford Explorer. Links to where I actually got the idea from will be down in the description. I'll probably post it somewhere here on the screen. It'll be the Ford Explorer forums. On there's some pictures and stuff. This is that's not my post on there. The person that posted that is on the Ford Explorer forums. That's where I got the idea from. Just want to make that clear. I did get the tow hooks from somebody that took them off of I think it was a 2018 or 2017 Ford F-150. So, and they fit on there like their OEM equipment. It took me about an hour to do it because the hardest thing was trying to get the nuts in the lock washer to stay stationary as I tightened the bolt. Once the bolt was tightened and the lock washer bit into the metal, then I could actually tighten it up with a wrench. So that was the hardest part there with that. But I'll narrate that video as I go through with each step and everything that I'm doing. There'll probably be a few segments where I'll fast forward through it. I have all of that uploaded to the computer. All of that needs to be done is narrated over. I guess some gaps where I needed a tool or something and I had to leave to go get that needs to be cut out, and so on and so forth. Thanks for coming back. Thanks for sticking it out. Hope you enjoyed the videos. If you have any comments or questions, leave them in the comments below. If you like the video at the end, please give it a thumbs up. Share it with your friends. And subscribe if you're interested. And thanks for watching. Alright, here we go. Just getting the camera set up. That's the ports where the tow hooks are going to go. So just give you a look at that. Just a word of caution, if you're going to do this, when you get underneath the car, make sure you have safety goggles on. I had to have mine on, and it was a little nippy, so that explains the hoodie. Right there, those are the holes. If I can hold the camera still, those are the holes where the mounts are going to go. You'll see in a second. I'm trying to get the camera situated so you guys can actually see. This is the hardest part because I didn't set it up so I could see. If you guys could see, I'm sorry that the video, I guess, is a little dark. The quality does get a little bit better and brighter. I did have to prune out a little bit from this clip, so you'll see it in a couple of seconds. But right now, what I'm struggling with is to get the little plastic tabs out for the knockout for the tow hook ports that are on the front of the bumper. Okay, at this point I got the camera all situated. You guys have a better shot. Of course, I'm going to fiddle with the camera a little bit more. But the 3 holes that you can see up there where I'm working, that's where the tow hook is going to go. So I have to feed the nut and the lock washer in through the frame rail. So that's what I'm doing here. I get the lock washer in first and then put the nut in, and it helps if you have a little tiny screwdriver or tiny fingers to stick up through the holes to line the washer and the nut up, so when you push the bolt through, you can actually get them threaded and get it started. So that's what I'm doing here. And this goes on for a while, so I'll have some music going in the background while you guys enjoy watching. Alright, what I did is I Loctited the threads of the bolts before I got this far. So what I initially started doing is I was trying to put the tow hook in and then put the bolt through it. But there's a part where you can actually set it in there and actually set it so you can thread the bolt through partially, and then after you thread it through partially, then you can go back and slide the tow hook into it like a picture hanger. So that's what I when I realized I was doing that, that's what I ended up doing. And that made it so much easier to get it partially started, but it also made it more difficult to get the other bolt to actually go in. So I was trying to see if there was a way to actually no, I'm picking leaves out there, sorry. That bugs me. So I realized that, so what I'm doing here is I'm going to actually thread the nut, the lock washer and the nut in on the back side, which is closer to the back of the vehicle. When I get those lined up, then I can start the bolt. what you saw me kept trying to do there is I was trying to get the screwdriver to hold the nut in place while I thread the bolt in. That just wasn't working, so I had to stick my finger in the slot to hold the nut to get the nut to stay in place so I could start the bolt. Once you get the bolt started, then it gets a lot easier. So I finally get the bolt started and get it to a point where it's going to stay, it's not going to fall out, and that's all set. So then you take the tow hook, slide it in through the front, and when you slide it in through the front, you hook it on like you're hanging a picture, because it has the little slot in there. You can just hang it on there. You'll see that coming up in the next clip. I'm getting the front ready to go, so put some thread lock on it. On this side, I just sped up the footage a little bit. It's a little painful to watch, but trying to get the second bolt started, because it was even more difficult because now the space where I was sticking my finger in is now tighter because of the curvature of the tow hook frame, so it's a little harder to get my hand in there. So after trying to get it lined up, when I went to push the bolt in, I ended up bumping it, which moved it, so it took me some finagling to get that lined up. As well as I was trying not to lose the nut and the washer actually in the frame. What you want to have is a long screwdriver, maybe like a 10 or a 12-inch one. So what you can do, and a flathead screwdriver works best. If you push it in through the slot, you can jam it against a nut and create some pressure on it to stop it from turning, and then you can tighten the bolt down to the nut. As you can see, the one towards the back is in a little bit more snug by hand tight, and again with the front one I ran into that same problem where every time I go to put the bolt in it would move, so it was kind of hard to try to hold it to get it to stay in place and also get the bolt started. This is pretty much the same process, but as I'm doing this, I'm learning a few tricks on this side that make the passenger side go a lot faster. One of the tricks that I ended up doing, because what would happen occasionally is the nut would slide off of the lock washer, so I got some painter's tape and I used that to hold the lock washer and the nut together. So I just take off a couple of little tiny pieces and just wrap it around so you're not blocking the hole where the bolt needs to go and the threads of the bolt or the nut itself. So it's finagle that in and you gotta twist and contort your hand to get the bolt in there and get it started. Once I did that, everything went so smoothly. So at this point I actually get the bolt started. So it's more or less, I'm just holding it with a couple of fingers trying to twist it. So I got that one started. And then I get the, I tried to use the socket on it. I figured I could probably twist it in there because it was one of the sockets that has the swivel on the end of the extension, but it just wasn't working. It wasn't swiveling enough to get in there. So I ended up using the ratchet and wrench. So once I got it on there, I didn't have to keep taking it off, putting it on. Although there were a few times where, until I got tight enough that I could tighten it down without using the method of taking it off the nut, repositioning it, putting it on, tightening it, taking it off, it actually went pretty easy. On the back side, it was just more or less wedge the screwdriver in, hold it, and then just torque it down. Which you just saw, I had to stop to actually go get the ratchet and wrench because I thought I had it with me and I didn't, so I had to go get that. And I gave you a close-up look of what it looks like. I took a pair of pliers and just wedged them in the front, in between the plastic bumper and the hook, just to hold it up so it would actually stay in place. So that's what I ended up doing with that. So I got the back all tightened down, running the bolt in on the front. Just takes a little bit of a process. As you can see, I'm taking the wrench off, putting it on, putting it back on, but it's because I'm trying to hold the nut on the back side, keep it from spinning every time I go to twist the bolt. Alright, here's a close-up of this one. This side is done. Everything is torque spec good and tight. There's no actual torque spec. I don't know what the torque spec is. I just cranked it down really tight. The bolts that are on there are grade 8 bolts, so I just tighten it down super tight. I don't recall at the end of the video if I actually show putting fluid film in there, but I put some fluid film in there just to sort of help preserve the bolts and everything and keep them from starting to rust out. And now we're going to move over to the passenger side and get started on that. As you saw, the little caption came up for the passenger side. And passenger side is pretty much the same process. You push 2 tabs in there, you get a small screwdriver, and you get in right in the center. If you push, you'll push a little, it's almost like a button, you'll push that out, and then you push the whole thing out, and you see what that looks like. And you do the same thing on the other side. And once you push those through, then the blank that holds the space for where the tow hook comes out, so it's just like a closed off opening, opens up, and you can see all the way through there. So I guess from this point forward, I'm just gonna let some music play in the background. If there's anything that I need to jump in, I'll jump in and let you know. But other than that, it's pretty much the same exact process repeated on the passenger side. Start with the back one, get that one started, hang the tow hook on that like you're hanging a picture. Once that's on there, then you work on the front. If you get the nuts that have the serrations on them, that'll actually keep them from moving, then you don't have to worry about lock washers. I couldn't find those, so I ended up just using lock washers, and they worked out just as good. It was just a more or less keeping them lined up. Some blue Loctite, or you can do red Loctite if you want. Blue is all I had, so that's what I ended up using. And if you live somewhere where you get a lot of road salt and snow and everything in the wintertime, maybe throw a anti-corrosion in there. I used fluid film. You can use WD-40, I'm sure that'll work. You could probably take some gear grease and on a Q-tip or on your finger and just swab it around inside the frame rail on the nut and the threads of the bolt and everything, in case you ever need to take that off to put, you know, something different on the front, like a push bar, a bull bar, or a brush guard or something in the front of your truck. Other than that, if you have any questions, post them in the comments below. I do read all the comments. Since I don't have a huge subscriber base, it's really easy. So any questions you have, throw them in the comments below. And I appreciate everybody hanging in there or sticking it out while it took me some time to do post-production on this video. Some of the other ones I just threw together and put up with music. I figured the actions in the video were self-explanatory and there was no need to actually do any kind of voiceover for those. I think there's one other video that I'm working on that I'm gonna put together, another one just with music to it. It's the install of a Canon air filter. But other than that, thanks for watching, appreciate it. Give the video a like or a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, if you found it informative. Share it with your friends, anybody that has talked about or thought about doing this to their truck or SUV. I'm sure the process is somewhat similar on other makes and models. This was done on a Ford Explorer, but I'm sure that the process is going to be pretty much the same on maybe any Ford truck. GM might be somewhat the same or slightly similar, but it's just more or less getting the hardware and the rest becomes easy. Alright, thanks for watching. Have a great day.